Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. So, today's video is kind of an update or a new take on a video that I did a little over 2.5 years ago. So, about 2.5 years ago, I did a series of videos called Bug Out Bag Basics, and it was, I don't know, I think in the end it was around 4 videos altogether of building a bug out bag and what to put in it, what to have with you for your bug out / survival bag. And today is a video response to that of lessons learned and where I am almost 3 years later from the bug out bag that I built back then. Now, since that video and before this one, there was another video I did called Bug Out Bag 2.0 Gear to Go. And it even was a huge improvement on the first bug out bag. The first bug out bag was very lacking in direction. When I built that bag, I fell into the trap of being very wowed by gear and throwing stuff at the bag and putting stuff in the bag that, looking back, was totally excessive. One thing with this bug out bag video is going to be 2 things. One, having a bug out location now that I did not have then. Actually having somewhere to go should I ever bug out or go somewhere for a survival purpose. Now, I want to state right now, I in no way ever want to have to do this. I in no way ever want things to get to the point where I have to bug out or I feel that it's necessary to leave my home for the safety of me and my family, because the world has just gone so to crap that I can't stay in the safety of my house or wherever I'm living. And I feel that, okay, it's time to get the wife, get the son, get in the truck, and drive an hour up here to these woods to basically flee civilization and get away from people because it's so dangerous and so bad. I want to state right now that I absolutely hope that me and the rest of you never have to go through that. That is not a scenario that is something you want or something you desire, or at least in my case that I do. For survival and for tactical and all that, that sounds cool on paper to get your stuff and have your bag and have to go. But in reality, after about a day or two, that's not going to be cool anymore. That's not going to be fun anymore, because having to live out in these circumstances with only what you brought on your back or were able to carry in is not going to be something that I personally want to have to put my family through, especially. The second thing that today's video has is lessons and approaches that I've learned since I made that first bug out bag video or series of videos. Some wisdom and knowledge that I've picked up over the years, getting out, watching others, watching people that do survival channels and that talk about survival and researching it, and getting out here over the last almost 3 years since I started this channel. So today is going to be hopefully a much more guided and direct and purposeful approach to what I have in this bag. Now, this bag can be a bug out bag, a survival bag, it can be your get home bag. It can serve a lot of purposes. Now, one thing I want to state is bug out bags are highly criticized when people build them. I know I got a lot of feedback, and I got a lot of good constructive criticism. I got some comments that were just there to be mean and nasty, and I take those with a grain of salt. If you're being constructive and you're being helpful and you're saying, hey, there's a better way to do this, there's a better way to build that bag, there's stuff you need in there that you don't have, I am totally for that. I am not wearing my heart on my sleeve here of oh, please don't say anything about my bag because I think it's perfect. I don't think that one was perfect. I don't think this one is perfect. One thing about bug out bags is there is no one size fits all. It's so complicated and complex a subject for looking for putting a number of items in a bag that you are going to rely on for days, weeks, or longer to survive and take care of you and potentially multiple other people if you ever had to be in a survival situation or to leave for safety and security. Now, in my case, I have a wife and a little boy. A bag just for me is not going to be enough. So you're going to want to look at building bags for family members. You're going to want to look at having things for more than just yourself. Because if you get out there and you don't have anything more than just taking care of you, you're going to be in trouble real fast. Another thing is your experience, your skill set level, your location, like I said, how many people are going to be in the group. There are just so many factors that go into building a bug out bag. And in all reality, if you don't have a bug out location beforehand and a solid area you're going to go to, and that an area that you can maybe already be stashing stuff at, so that what you carry is not all you go up there with. Those are all factors to take into consideration when doing this kind of stuff. And as I stated, I realistically don't ever want to have to do this, but sometimes we find ourselves in situations that are out of our control. And it's not going to be what would you prefer, what would you like the scenario to be, how would you like the situation to be. It's what cards have you been dealt? Where are you right now? And the bag that I built almost 3 years ago doesn't handle a lot of those problems. So what I want to do is bring you a more experienced bag build today that does not have the holes, that does not have the obvious excessive amount of gear here and nothing there. Too many tools and no shelter. Too many cutting utensils or too many fire starters but no shelter. So I want to deal with I'm sorry, what I was going to say was no food and no water. No way of procuring food and water once you're out there. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into it. Just wanted to kind of give you that background to where today's video is coming from. Why I'm doing this. I'm not going to be doing a ton of these, survival is a part of this channel, but I like this to be more entertainment and bushcraft and getting out in nature for fun rather than getting out in nature or getting out in the wild to survive and flee civilization. With that said, one thing I like about doing the fun part and the bushcraft stuff is those are skills that directly translate into if you are in a survival situation. Knowing how to build a shelter, being able to start a fire without matches and pre-made fire starter that you picked up at the grocery store or at the sporting goods store before you came out. Knowing how to do those things directly translates into the survival world. So that's one thing I like about this, is that even doing those type videos, you have the ability to practice those skills in a fun environment. That doesn't mean your life depends on it, or you're not going to eat tonight if you can't get this fire going, or if you can't catch fish. One thing I'm going to do, okay, that's all the background. So now we're going to jump into first location. If you've been watching my last few videos, you'll know this spot. If this is the first time seeing my channel, first of all, welcome. My name is Chris. The channel is Viking Bushcraft and Survival. No, I am not a Viking. I very much so am intrigued by Vikings and kind of that old live off the land and explore and travel lifestyle. So that kind of is where that translated into naming this channel. But this is Viking Bushcraft and Survival. My name is Chris, and I do primarily now bushcraft and camp style videos. Last several videos have been shelter building, I've done bushcraft and camping pack videos, and I'll do some gear testing and reviews and demonstrations from stuff that I've bought that I've found to be a good deal and good quality that I pass on to you guys. So if you haven't been watching the channel up till now, this is the first time seeing a video, I'm going to go ahead and show you where I'm at. This is a shelter that I have spent probably the course of a couple weeks, not every day by any means or anything like that, but several days building. So in the back you have the A-frame shelter, just a simple bipod in the front, paracord, a leaned or a ridge pole at the top that goes back to the tree behind it. It is seated at the base of that tree, and then just lean-to style debris forming that shelter. Now it's good size inside. I could fit me and my wife and child in there, and I will get to in the pack that there is a tarp in there that I can use to cover this and help waterproof it and help make it a little more secure against the elements if we ever had to stay in it. Then out here is the outer walls. This is just for protection to help keep animals. If you see my videos, I've talked about, I'm pretty sure there are some wild boar in the area, potentially coyotes, I know, and it's just to help keep those from being able to wander into the camp. Up front here, this is a firewood storage that I built the last time I was up here. Just a simple tree bark covered stick frame that helps give me a place to store firewood and protect it. Then that over there is, of course, the fire pit. I've got rocks lining that wall to help protect against the fire burning the part of the wall behind it that both acts as the reflector for fall and winter and as another wall, the shelter. So that is just to give you an idea of where I am. This is my bug out location. So if tomorrow, worst came to worst, I would have somewhere to go and take my family. This is on family land, it's private property. So I feel very secure in being able to bring my wife and family up here. So that is the location. First of all, that is a huge improvement from a year ago, or I'm sorry, about 3 years ago, of when I built the first bug out bag, is having somewhere to go. Now at that time, I will say I lived out way out in the country, very secluded area with a few neighbors that kind of looked out for each other and otherwise kept to themselves out there. So in that scenario, I probably would not have left right there. Having the supplies was still helpful, but in that scenario, I was already out of the city. I was already out of crowds and masses and all that kind of stuff. So for most intents and purposes, that probably would have been the safest place at the time to go. Now I live in a much larger town that me and my wife rent in, closer to my wife's family and all that kind of stuff. So we've moved since then. So now I needed a location, both for camping and for fun, and this works for the bug out scenario as well. So the next thing I'm going to jump into, I'm going to lower the camera. You guys are not really going to be able to see me anymore, but that doesn't matter. We're going on to the pack. Okay, so next in the discussion here is going to be the pack. The pack I have right now, that is my primary pack for bringing up here, and then I usually have most of the supplies in that I would want to have in a bug out scenario and bring up here, is this Martin Top 60-liter internal frame pack. Heavy canvas, got a lot of molly webbing on it. But one thing I will tell you right now is different from and something I heard a lot of you say on the first pack was stop attaching stuff to the outside, and I totally agree. Stop loading up the outside with stuff that can fall off, get lost, get left behind on the trail, or just at any point get hung up when you're trying to get out to your location. So this pack has not got anything save my axe that I brought up here for this. Nothing else is on the outside. This has a pocket that it slides down into in the handle. It has 2 retention straps right here that I can tighten, and I could even lash it to the pack to make sure it can't get pulled out. So that one item I can secure and make it where it can't get pulled off the pack and be good to go. And that way I have nothing else on the outside of it. Now we'll go ahead while we're talking about the outside, and this is on it. If you've watched my videos, you've seen this in the last few episodes. This is a Gerber. Sorry, it looks like I'm getting a lot of glare. I'm right here in the sunlight. But this is a Gerber 24-inch chopping axe. It's got a good hammer on the back, plenty of cutting surface here, and it has the fiber comp handle. This is basically a Fisker's, identical to a Fisker's axe, just with Gerber's name on it. It's made out of Finland just the same, and it is it even says Fisker's up here at the top. So this is just Gerber's branding on a Fisker's axe. The reason I like this is for a survival or bug out situation, I don't have to worry about a wooden handle breaking. I don't have to worry about rot here. Don't have a leather sheath that's going to be getting torn up by rain and the elements. This is all pretty much very weather resistant stuff. Good protection. It's got a handle here, a lot of options for carrying when I'm out here. And this fiber comp handle, I'm not saying it's unbreakable, but it's a lot less likely to break than a wooden handle. These are very strong. I've used Fiskars for years, never had a handle break. So when I decided to go with this Gerber, I was very confident, and so far it has served me well. I have used it a lot on this shelter build and out here doing this project. I've used it for hammering stakes, cutting wood, just all the kind of camp chores and stuff that you're going to use an axe for, and for shelter building. So I am very confident in that axe, and it has served me really well so far. So that is the axe that I'm using on this pack. Now I'm going to start just on this front pocket, work around. I've got 2 side pockets, and then we'll go to the inside. So in this pouch right here, one of the first things I'll show you are gloves. I have just a basic pair of Mechanics Impact gloves. I've used these for years. Padded in the palms, good finger protection. Just Velcro here at the wrist. You can adjust them. You can even leave them open so you can slide them on and off easily. So this is very important because you're going to be out here using your hands a lot, and your hands are going to be extremely vital to your success out here in the wild. So protecting your hands and trying to keep blistering and cuts and all that to a minimum, a good pair of gloves goes a long way with that. While we're covering that kind of stuff, I'll just go ahead. This is in a slide lock, strong seal Ziploc bag. Now, you can do Ranger rolls for clothes, which is just laying down your clothing, rolling it up into a small ball to save as much space as you can. Having some extra clothing with you would be really helpful. Give you something dry in case you get wet and it's, you know, colder weather, or you're in a situation where hypothermia is a concern, or you just don't, you know, you're feeling chilled or anything like that. Having some extra clothes can be very helpful in a bug out situation. Give you something to change into, give you a couple different options. If something happened to the clothes you're wearing, they get torn, just whatever scenario might come up that causes you to need extra clothes. And I have them in this bag so that if this bag my pack fell in water, this is protected from getting wet. This bag also has a lot of my, I guess mostly all of my fire starting material in it. Everything that I will use for basic fire starting. So, if you look at the last pack video I've done, or if you've seen it on this channel, one thing I did is I had way too much fire starter material in the last pack. Yes, I have one redundancy in here, as you'll see, but in all actuality, having a couple ways to start a fire is really probably all you need. The first thing I have, this is an Uberleben, which I've shown it before. Very large. This is a 6-inch long by 1-inch thick fire steel with the scraper attached. This thing throws an extremely hot spark and is great for fire starting. Best fire steel I've used. I have a couple different ones by them. This is the hexagonal design, and then I have one that's just a normal round design. These are great. This, as long as you keep up with this is really all you would need for fire starting. But in case something happened when you're out in the wild and the variables are not at your control, I do have this container of waterproof matches. This is in a plastic container. It's got a little rubber seal here around the lid, and these matches are protected from the elements, and several matches in here for fire starting. So those are really my two redundancies, and I can come up with a lot of material in these woods for fire starter. This right here is just for emergency situations. This is InstaFire. If you've watched my channel for a while, you've seen me use this. This is a military grade fire starter. It's pelletized wood, I believe, if I remember correctly, pelletized wood and volcanic rock. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that's what it is. And this has a waterproof pouch that it comes in. Now, one thing I will tell you, and I wish they had done, is this pouch is not resealable. So once you open it, the waterproof factor is gone. But until you use it, until you open it, it is in a waterproof bag. It starts wet wood. It burns on top of water and snow. This just has really kind of a bomb-proof factor for being able to start fires. So that's my emergency backup. Another thing you want to have with you is make sure you have cordage, like I did for this shelter. Most everything I've done with this shelter is all natural material. But in order to make parts of it work, I've had to have paracord or some kind of cordage to tie off stakes, the frame here, the front of the A-frame for the main part of the shelter. So this is essential for when you don't have natural cordage, or you're trying to do something quickly and you need tie off or any of the situations where you need paracord. And with paracord, you have all the strands inside so that you can get even more use out of the same length of cordage, because you can take out strands. So make sure you've got that with you. Also in here, just a couple other things before we move on. I'm going to save this for later because this actually goes with another part that's inside the pack. One thing I have in here is just a basic eating utensil. This is by K-Bar. Slides out of the top, and it has a knife and then your normal spork. This is not essential to have in your pack. This is just if when you come up here, if you bring food like a Mountain House meal or soup or something like that, you have something you can eat it with a little bit easier. So this is one of those things you can take or leave. But this is not absolutely essential in a pack, but I have it in here, like I said, because this is also my camping and bushcraft bag. So I have stuff like this in there in case I need utensils. Last thing in here before we go to the next section. Oh, sorry, two more things. Flashlight. Great to have some source of light with you out in the woods, especially at night. If you're trying to kind of keep an eye on your perimeter and what's going on, definitely have a flashlight with you. This has a zoom focus slide. You can go out, or you can come in for like a floodlight, and then you can press it forward to focus the beam and get further distance. So good flashlight, very important to have with you. Now this is a dual grit sharpening stone that I have in here. This is something that you can use for sure to touch up your axe, keep your axe sharp. This is not heavy at all. This is very lightweight, and it does give you a coarse and a fine side for sharpening. So I definitely recommend having stuff like this so you can touch up your tools in the wild. Because if you're going to be out there for an extended period of time, you want to make sure that your axe is going to be useful to you for the long run and for as long as you need it. So that is everything from that pocket. I'm going to kind of pick up the pace now because I don't want this video to be too long. I'm just trying to go over with you guys being better prepared. Side pockets. Two main things. Really the only things I keep in these side pockets. Water. Now, you're not going to be able to carry enough water in with you to last very long at all. You can have it in there to get you started when you get there, but water is going to be something that runs out quickly, and we're going to cover that more in just a minute. So I do bring water. Both pouches have waters in them. And then a lightweight and easy option for once you get up here to give yourself some energy and something to eat for the first little bit you're up here. This is a Builder's Bar by Cliff. I like Cliff bars. They're good energy bars. They're good, easy, lightweight nutrition to carry with you on a trail, hiking, camping, just whatever. So you can throw some of these in a pack very easily. This is called the Builder's Protein, and this is actually a higher protein bar than just their normal, like, multi-pack bars you can get in the boxes. It's a little bit bigger, and it has carbohydrates. It has carbs, fat, 20 grams of protein. It's got some sodium in it, so you can replenish salt if you're sweating a lot. But mostly the biggest things here are just some calories. It does have potassium in it as well, which is a good thing. But this is mostly calories and protein to fuel you for work you're going to need to be doing when you get out here. So that is just a helpful thing for getting up here that's lightweight and easy to carry. Now, something I mentioned earlier was if you do Mountain House meals, they're dehydrated meals, or you want to do, you can even do canned soup. That's something that will last a while when you get up here. It doesn't have to be refrigerated. It'll be pretty resilient to the elements. You can cook it over a fire if you've got a saucepan or something like that you bring up here with you, and that's another option. Now, that requires more items like having a pan or a couple quart canister to cook in. If you don't want to worry about that, Mountain House meals, or I think it's Backpackers Country, those are dehydrated meals that all you need to be able to do is boil some water, pour it in, mix it up, and you're ready to go. So that's just another consideration there. So moving on into the pack itself. Like I said, this is 60 liter, so it's got pretty good room for being able to pack the essentials. Now, like I said, I'm going to start moving pretty quickly through this stuff. The rest of this is pretty self-explanatory. This is a canteen with a little canister on the bottom that it nests in. This is, again, something you can boil water in. This is something you could cook your soup in. And they, nest the canteen nests in it, so it's 2 for 1 in the same space. You also have this carrying pouch to help kind of protect it. And one thing this would also help kind of do is hold in some warmth or coolness depending on what you put in there. Another way to carry water. This is a kind of just accessory pouch. I'm going to very quickly go over what's in here because there's several things in here. This has a poncho if you want to help protect yourself from the rain, or if you even want to kind of set up a miniature tarp to protect yourself when you're out. That is what's in the top of it. Fishing hook kit, and that goes with what I took out earlier. So this is a 180 yards of fishing line. It is a 30-pound line. Hooks. I have a few bobbers in here, and your round split shot. Now, I don't have a fishing pole in here, and you don't have to have one to be able to catch fish. Now, I will give you a little bit of explanation. This land that I'm on has a stocked pond not very far at all from this camp. I can walk there in probably about 3-4 minutes. And that gives me an option for fishing when I'm up here. There's also, depending on the time of the year and the rainfall, there's a creek that runs through right here in front of the camp for being able to acquire water, to drink, boil, use for food, all that kind of stuff. Now, speaking of water, I said earlier you're not going to be able to bring enough water up here to survive the entire time. You don't know how long you're going to be up here, and you're just not going to be able to carry. Water's heavy, and you're not going to be able to carry that much in. There are a lot of different options out there. This is just one of them. This is a life straw, and this is designed where you can take off the end, stick the straw in the water, and directly drink out of it. So with having a creek here and a pond over there, I can bring water in and drink out of this. I can boil for other applications. Now, one thing I will say, a better option and something that I'm going to upgrade to in the near future is a Sawyer squeeze. It has a pack and the filter. You can carry more water, and you can carry water with you other than just having this at the source. So that is an upgrade to this, but this will work if you're in a situation where you have water close by. And that's another thing you have to take into account where you're going. What's your environment like? What do you have access to? What do you need that makes the most sense in that area? So I'm just saying, better options out there, but this works where I am. So that's water filtration. This is a Smith's Sharpening Stone. It just has the cover on it. This is for knife touch-up work. The round stone is more, the puck is more for axes, so could use it in a pinch on the knife, but I also have this, which is very lightweight for that application. Have a Schrade multi-tool in here in case you need small saw, pliers to take hooks out of a fish mouth if it's stuck in there and you can't get it out with your hand or fingers. It's got a saw on it, just another blade. This is just another kind of utility item that you can use up here in this situation. And you never know what all you're going to run into, so having some extra tools that are helpful is important. Again, this bag is not tool heavy. I have the knife that I'm wearing that would be up here with me, an axe, this, and honestly there's a saw in the bag, and that's going to be it for tools. If you want to do like a bow or something like that, a takedown bow, if you wanted to hunt, which I think is a good idea. There's a lot of opportunity to hunt out here. I enjoy archery, and a takedown bow might make a lot of sense. They fit in a pack very well, and that's something I may add in the future for hunting capabilities. So just like I said at the beginning, there is no one size fits all with these bug out bags, and you're going to want to take into consideration your area. You're going to want to take into consideration what you feel comfortable doing and what's going to make things easier on you when you get up there. Again, you want to have a good balance. You want to be skill heavy, and you want to have a light enough pack that you're able to go where you're wanting to go without wearing yourself out just from carrying the pack, or it being too heavy that you can't even get it where you want to go. So those are all things to take in consideration, and that's something that you learn and improve upon all the time. 2 years from now, there's no telling what will have changed in this pack, what might be different that I carry or take with me. It's just something that as your skills and your experience and your exposure to this kind of stuff grows, you grow. You get better at packing, and you find out things that I could really do without that, or I have the skill set to not need that there. So constantly be developing your skills. Go out and practice. Practice starting a fire with just the ferro rod. Find all the materials you need in the woods around you. Find moss or paper thin bark, whatever you can come up with to start a fire without having a fire starter, and with just a fire steel or just your matches. The more comfortable and competent you get with those skills, the less items you need. So the less stuff you have to carry up here, and that can go to something maybe more important. Maybe you can bring a little more food, bring a little more water, whatever. Just keep working on those skills. One thing, like I said earlier, the fun with the bushcraft and the camping is that even though you're having fun, it's still an opportunity to say, hey, this time I'm going to go up there and I'm going to catch and cook. I'm not going to take any food with me, or I'm going to take limited food. Dinner tonight's going to be what I catch and cook over the fire. That way, if you don't catch anything, you're going home tomorrow, or you have stuff for breakfast in the morning, you're not starving. You missed one meal, and you learned from it, and you practiced, and you got better for next time. But if you wait till you're in this scenario and you haven't practiced any of these skills, and there's going to be things you have to do for the first time. But if you've got a good range of skills and good things you've practiced already, this is not going to be so intimidating or have as much of a chance of you failing when it really counts. So that's just a word of advice, something I've learned, something you'll hear a lot of other people say is practice, practice, practice those skills. Because waiting until you're out here in a life or death situation, or your family's counting on you to provide food or something like that, it's not when you want to be like, I'm not sure, I don't even know where to begin here, I've never done this. So practice, get out, have fun when it's fun for camping and all that. So if you ever do find yourself in this scenario, you're more ready for it. You're more prepared. And preparedness and survival and skills like that, that's something you spend your whole life developing. That's something that even seasoned hunters and fishermen and survival experts, they're constantly learning and challenging those skill sets. So getting back to the bag, one of the most important things that I have in here is this Sportsman series from Adventure Medical Kits first aid kit. Now this has individually marked in here bandages, first aid, bleeding, headache medication, all that kind of stuff. Have a really good first aid medical kit with you. And have reasonable things in there. Have things that are going to very likely be scenarios you run into. Calloused hands, blistered feet, cuts, scrapes, things that are going to be, or bad cuts from using axes or saws or knives or any of that. Have headache medication, have anti-nausea, anti-diarrheal, things that may very well come up when you're out here, and this is going to make it so much more bearable than if you're up here having to suffer these things and you get hurt somehow, or you get sick to your stomach, or something's going on and you have nothing to treat it with. So cannot stress enough, I really like this series. You can find them on Amazon very easily, and they make a whole range. This one covers up to 4 people, and it shows up here in the corner. This is for hunting, camping, fishing. That's why it's the Sportsman series, and it's Adventure Medical. This is what they do. They do first aid kits for people that get out in the wild and get away from being able to have direct access to someone to administer first aid or medical help to them if something were to happen. So have realistic stuff in here, and I have it in a waterproof bag again, so that if it fell into a creek or a body of water around here, this would be protected from getting wet. And another thing, a nice thing about this bag is, with it being in this bag like this, you can add stuff to it. If you have medications you have to take, if you have allergies you have to treat, or anything like that, have that stuff, have backups of that in here, so that if you need to go, you have everything you need to treat your conditions or whatever you may have challenges in while you're out. So cannot stress enough having a really good first aid kit. Last few things, and like I said, I'm going to cover these very quickly. This is just a titanium little pot with a lid. Very durable, able to handle the elements. This right here are tent pegs, or tarp pegs, sorry. I have a pretty large Wild Venture tarp in here. I forget the dimensions on it, but it's a pretty large, I think it's maybe around 10 by 12, something like that, tarp. And I keep this in here now so that if I needed to do the A-frame here and cover it to at least keep water from being able to just directly pour in from the top or something like that, I can cover a good bit of the surface area that we would be underneath with this tarp. The pegs, that's if I need to use the tarp out, if I wanted to set up a temporary shelter or something like that, or a camp further away. I have the tent pegs or the tarp pegs that I can do some kind of tarp setup for a shelter. Other than that, spoke of the saw. I have my Silky big boy saw, just a folding saw. Good amount of cutting edge down here. This is the medium, I believe, if I remember correctly, that I have. This has the medium teeth. I've used this a lot out here, and it makes quick work of any kind of camp size, even shelter building wood. This has been a great saw. Folds down. It's not all that long folded down, but it's a very good size saw when it's extended. Locks, so you don't have the danger of it coming back on your hand or anything like that. Rubberized handle, very comfortable, very easy to work with. and it has a little sheath inside this bag that allows me to just slide it in there, get it out of the way, and protect it from rubbing or kind of wearing a hole inside the bag from the exposed metal. Other than that, I think that's pretty much the highlights. It's everything I really want to cover from the bag. There's a couple other things in there, but those are mostly just comfort items for camping. There's an inflatable sleeping pad that rolls down into a sleeve, and a pillow, an inflatable camp pillow. Those are not things that I would have to have in here. Those are, again, comfort items, and if you need to take those out to make room in your bag for something more important, those would be some of the first items to go, because I can sleep on the ground, or I can get branches and debris from here to make a more comfortable pack. So I hope this video has been helpful. I hope you guys see progress for sure from the old pack. My lessons learned and some mistakes and some oversights that I made building the first pack. There was very little direction to it. As a matter of fact, I've thought back and kind of looked back over some of the older stuff, and every time I did a pack video, I changed out or added items that made no sense. It was one time it was a tomahawk, then it was an axe, then it was you know, tools that just overlapped each other for no good reason. So I just want to pass this on as I'm learning, because I'm learning. Even though I've, had years of getting out here in the woods and different aspects of getting out in the woods, there's still a lot of stuff to learn. There's stuff that I learn, there's stuff that experts learn. This is a learning process, and one thing I just want to do on this channel is share that information as I grow and learn more about it and feel like I build my pack better, and I take stuff that's more important and makes sense and is built in a way. I just want to pass that on. And like I said in the beginning, there is no one size fits all for bug out bags or survival bags or whatever you call it. A lot of this stuff may be scaled down or in different variations or stuff you could keep in your vehicle, the trunk of your car, your truck, whatever. Stuff that you could have in there so that if you went exploring for the day and you got stuck or you got lost, you could make camp for the night. One thing I didn't really go over was electronics. I don't think I have it in here right now. I'll have to figure out, I believe, with moving and everything, I'm not sure what I've done with it, but I have a power bank, solar charged power bank that you can plug your cell phone up to charge off of just sunlight. And it's also got lights on the back of it, some LED lights on the back of it that you could use for some camp lighting. That's another thing you can take into consideration. Now, depending how things are or what scenario you're thinking about being in, cell phone might not be of any use to you if you have no reception or something like that. But having a charged cell phone could be very important. You could get in touch with family, friends, people that you might want to help direct to your spot or let know that you're okay and come on. That's something else you might take into consideration, is having like a power bank or something that runs on solar that you can plug your phone up to. So I just wanted to share these ideas with you. Please let me know in the comments section your thoughts. If you like the bag, what you would change about the bag, or how you would build yours differently. Always interested in hearing and seeing other prepared individuals and what they put in there. Like I said earlier, some stuff that sorry, my camera hit its time frame for how long it records one segment, so it cut off right there. But one thing, what I was saying was, one thing I've told you is like considerations for the future is maybe getting a takedown bow, something that I could use for hunting that's quiet, wouldn't give away my location, wouldn't really make any noise. There's deer, there's turkey, there's all kinds of animals out here that could be potentially food sources for bringing back to this camp and prepping and cooking. Like I said, there's fish, there's wild game. That's one reason I have a location like this, is to be away from people and to be able to source a lot of what I might need just immediately, for days and weeks to make it bearable to live out here. So that's going to be it for this video. I really appreciate you guys watching. Like I said, please shoot me a comment. let me know if you liked it. Let me know what you would change or how you would build yours, and share your thoughts. Generate discussion down there. I want this video to be kind of a thought provoking and get you, like I've done, to consider. If things were not great tomorrow and it looked like I needed to go, what would I do? What would I take with me? Do I have the stuff I need? Am I prepared for that? Could I take care of my family or myself? Whatever your situation may be. So jump down in the comments below. Please give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Those likes definitely help, and I appreciate those. I appreciate you guys that watch and comment and like. If you're new to the channel, I hope you'll consider subscribing. I'd really love to have you here. Like I said, this is not the most regular content on this channel. It's usually more lighthearted, kind of getting out, camping, building, having fun. But these videos are essential too, because this channel is about survival as well. So once again, my name is Chris, and I really appreciate you guys watching. Please stay tuned. There's more stuff coming on the shelter after this one. I'm actually filming 2 videos up here today, so I've got probably another camp project or something here around camp that I'm going to do for the next one. So this will be one video in between camp projects, but more stuff definitely coming up soon. Thank you guys for all your support. Hope you stay safe out there. Take care, and I'll see you all next time.